Ladies and gentlemen, I love the cue that you don't hear. It's my companion James here saying, "We will be in audio in 3, 2, 1." It's taken us half an hour to get to this point, so I hope we really are on audio in 3, 2, 1. Click, click. I'm sure we are. I'm sure we are. Restarts permitting. Okay, fine. My name is Mal Burns, and my companion here on the other seat is James Atlloud. Hello, James.
Good afternoon, Mal, or good evening.
I'm your news reader, so to speak, and James is the knob fiddler. In other words, you make sure all the video and audio and everything else gets mixed together so that we're slightly more than talking heads, to quote a phrase. Okay, so we need to get to the news quite quickly this week. We're tight on time, as it were, but we've got a good 40 minutes, so we should be okay. As I said, well, I said my name was Mal Burns. Yeah, like many people on the interwebs, I'm squashed at Twitter. So if you want to follow my feed, which is where you'll find all the news links we're going to be talking about, plus more, I hasten to add, then go to twitter.com/Malburns, Malburns. And while you're there, you might want to check out twitter.com/Metaworld News. Again, two words squashed together. So, all squashed and ready to go, so to speak.
Yeah,
Today is the 23rd. 23rd. So you're about to hear the headlines for the week ending the 23rd, with the possible exception of one or two. Or who knows what's going to happen here? None of us can see the future, including what's on my desktop.
like.
So there we go. Right. Not the busiest of weeks this week. The major event was the EU, the European OR conference, which has been, it was 2 days really, just Thursday and Friday. I've got a picture up on the screen, which I'm sure James will show you, which is just the whole crowd behind the European OR. Sort of celebrating, it's the group shot at the end of the show or the beginning. And just in case you think some of those girls at the front have painted faces, it's actually the confetti falling on camera in front of them. Just thought I'd warn you about that. I did the double take myself and thought, oh dear, is this a messed up photo? Anyway, at the far left, you have Ori Umbar, of course, who is the convener, a co-founder of the organisation. From what I don't really recognise too many of the other ones there. I think probably they're all the European crew. I think Ori himself was probably the only, main or person there to do the hosting and everything. So just thought I'd throw that up. Very little video-wise to tell you about that. Although, in fact, since we're in a hurry, I'm going to do it this way round. Um, Amelia and well, there were two little sessions here giving you a flavour of what all was about. So I'm going to show you these now. But it's got a ghost at the end there. And there we go. A couple of little highlights there from OR 2022 there. Well, actually, to be honest, it should say the hashtag says OR 2022, but it's actually OR EU 2022. This particular one. It's held in Portugal somewhere, anyway. Right, okay. Moving quickly back to the picture department, so to speak. A reminder that the Open Simulator, which is well, it's a metaverse platform, but it also supports multiple grids which are connected via the hypergrid. And Open Simulator is having its community conference coming up a second weekend in December, and I can't put my finger on it. I think there's a spelling mistake on that somewhere. Somebody does
No?
it. Oh, it's simulator, isn't it?
Oh, right. Oh, how funny.
Yeah, I thought something looked weird. Anyway, yeah, they, be forgiven for that one. I think. Sorry about that. Right, and also happening on the 3rd to 4th of November, which astonishingly is not too far away now. I keep thinking we're still in September. uh, Global XR Conference, which, well, you can find out more at globalxrconference.com. You can see the address on screen there, and you can register to be there. It's online and it's totally free, so no cost to partake of that one for those couple of days, so to speak. And oh, that's it for the right. That's it for. Okay, I'll just go straight into a couple of other news clips, and then I'll move on to the actual news. Um, right, this is a trailer for something called Sync Reality, which is curious. No, it's not Zuckerberg. Well, almost a bit too much synced for comfort there, if you
Hmm.
ask me. And that has nothing to do with the so-called Reality OS, which is the thing Apple are working on for their layered spatial tech, whatever. Okay, now you might ask why. You might ask why, but anybody ever heard of something called Interpol? Well, they've been around for
Heard of them?
donkey's years.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're largely based in Europe, but they're this sort of international police force. They're called Interpol. So, if somebody's on the run from one country, Interpol get informed, and then all the other countries' police look for them. And, yeah, the other country does the chasing if that's required and whatever. Except in the case of America, where apparently the FBI have a European branch. I didn't know that. I thought they weren't well, I thought they weren't. They weren't transnational. I thought CIA was the foreign one, but never mind. Anyway, yes, Interpol's entered the metaverse for whatever reason. I don't know, but here they go. Well, I have a suspicion that whoever's behind that actually doesn't know what the metaverse is anyway. It's clearly it's flash and slick and everything, and clearly geared towards the public and public presence. But when I actually saw the border control thing, where you have the idea I might get coming back to the UK, I might get to border control and instead of showing my passport, I'll have to log in as an avatar and then go through the avatar version to be checked and then come back to reality on the other side. Well, who is really in the real world going to be using border control that way? If it was a training simulation internally, fair enough. But well, maybe it's a teaching experience where they show you what the experience of going through border control is like, which might be helpful given the complications of these things these days. Right, okay, what have I got here? Oh, God, I really don't want that. Oh, and we're not going to play this one. This is 10 minutes long. That can wait till another year. It's a clip called "The Metaverse is the world's deepest money pit." And well, I suppose it is appropriate. He's in the first frame, really, isn't it? Okay, moving to the web links for the week ending, whatever. This is actually the week ending October the 18th. This is the usual post at the beginning of the week from the scarghost.com, and I think we might cue the music for that. Yes, indeed. SKARREDGHOST.com. And the first one of the week is obviously the XR Week Peak. Meta announcing their Quest Pro, new rumours from Apple, and guess what? More. Yes, indeed. I'm not going to dwell here because, quite frankly, it was the beginning of the week, and almost anything mentioned here was probably on last week's show from our point of view. So, in fact, I'm almost certain there was nothing here this week that all good stuff to for the links and stuff. There's a lot of links here, but yeah, a good roundup, and we would hate to miss it, wouldn't we, Tony? So Tony Patillo being the Scar Ghost there's scarghost.com. So remove that item, and similarly another roundup from the beginning of the week that having every week now, but Charlie thinks roundups at Forbes are normally at the end of the week, but his new roundup at Spatial Beats is at the beginning of the week, indeed. And he's talking about Meta, and more Meta. Well, can't fault him for being alert. I'd rather talk about less Meta, and seriously less Meta, but we don't all get our way, do we? Right, okay, looking at the Quest Pro, which is, the new Facebook helmet, basically. And whatever. Will VR content reach 1 billion this year? More questions than answers, of course. Always good to have a post with a question mark on it, because nobody can say you got it wrong. You can just say, well, I was just asking.
That's too true. All right.
Too true indeed, yes. I know a few bloggers who blog with question marks every blog. Why not? Okay, we'll put that. Oh, sorry. The address you need for this, of course, is arinsider.co. ARINSIDER.co. That's just CO. No M on the end for that one. Moving on again. And, we can't possibly have a week without Voices of VR, can we? We got 2 more. Well, we did for a few weeks, but then we got how many was it last week? 30 or 40 in 1 week.
It was
anyway.
It was a lot.
We're back to a sensible amount now. 11:45. This is a wrap up of the Meta Disconnect conference with 4 immersive journalists and all the other stuff they had there. And well, of course, that's interesting in its way. And yes, 2 days later we had another post from Voices VR 1146. This is about Brad Lynch's journey as a VR hardware analyst, Valve Deckard's speculative patent research and hardware leaks. Cough, cough, cough. If that's Brad Lynch, he looks very young, but they make them young these days, I guess. So why not, is what I says. Why not, indeed. Right. Moving on up the list here. No, that's actually for our next show. Okay, here we go. I don't think I've come across this website before. It was obviously through a link. It's a site called invisiblestudio.net. So invisiblestudio.net. And how they created the metaverse 25 years ago and why it didn't work. And they're going back to 1998. Now, I don't want to take fault with them, but VRML, which they mention here, was actually in existence from Tony Parisi, of course, who invented it, a good few years before 1998. I think it was there in 1995. It's almost as old as the web itself because it was sort of it was later than HTML, but it was before this. But I'll give them the sake of for the sake of credibility. 25 years is still a long time, and of course they're explaining why it didn't work. This was the Museum of Science and Technology in Milan, which, in case you don't know, is Italy. And I know this Paolo Paolini chap who has resurfaced since then. I think he resurfaced doing somewhere with Unity, and he was showing it off, and the guys from Unity were there, and of course he was trying to make out that he'd done it all himself, whereas they knew damn well he'd used their software. Very embarrassed. I was a witness to that. It was funny. Right. There's only a couple of guys from Unity. It was very early days then. But they were here in Europe. Right. Looking at Java. And anyway, well, the reason I've got this up here is it's a nice little historical read, basically. That's what your metaverse looked like in 1998, as it were. And, it's not that different now. We just can't be bothered to fill our screens with chat anymore. At least if we do, we put it on a layer to make it bad for television. Usual moans and groans at this department. An online version of the New York Times article, which you can still look up in their archives. And, a whole load of stuff. There to read. So invisiblestudio.net is the site you want for that one. Ding-a-ling, says my phone. Right. Moving on up. Right, this next one is this is a Second Life blogger called Dinara Pay. I think if you follow me at Malbone Space Writer on Twitter, which is my Linden avatar, you will you probably find a lot of this sort of stuff. But it's of greater interest, I think, because Tilia, who is a subsidiary of Linden, in other words, it's a parallel subsidiary to Second Life and their other operations, it handles in-world virtual currencies and money services, etc. And this week it actually gained a strategic investment from JP Morgan. Now, if you don't know who they are, they're part of the world's largest bank. Basically, J.P. Morgan Chase, and Tilia has been running a major profitable company for 7 years, which arguably, well, before that it was Linden's, of course, not Tilia, the subsidiary, and $86 million in the last 12 months alone. So Tilia is also used by Sansar, Upland, and Avitus. Both of the last two I've never heard of. And it's also available to Unity developers using an integrated add-in called App Loving. I didn't know about that. It's missing a G, but otherwise it's App Loving. Yes, love it. Sorry. Right. Anyway, of serious interest there, I really think. It's, it is, this isn't Second Life news so much as major virtual currency news from Tilia, who are a subsidiary of Second Life. So you find this post particularly at Modem. It's all over the financial papers, but you'll find this one at Modem World ME, which gives you a sort of metaverse slant on things. MODEMWORLD.ME. So more money grabs there, so to speak. Okay. Talking of Second Life, this is nothing to do with the second. Well, it is. It's experience stuff. This is Philip Rosedale. This time he's on. This is his account at Medium.com, which, depending on how many times you click on Medium, you may find you're stuck in front of a paywall. But they normally give you a good few articles for free before they start demanding money. So here, this is his story. A head pose is not enough. And it's his thoughts about non-verbal communication in virtual reality, as much on the 2D screen as in Helmet Land. In fact, he's increasingly cynical about Helmet Land. But the way the avatar cues from an avatar actually convey, well, non-verbal communication. So, you know, like a shaking head in the real world means no way kind of thing, whereas a nod means oh yes, please. And presumably an avatar empowered with those movements is saying the same thing. But then, of course, we've got other things in the real world that are like a shrug or a raising of the palms of one hand that goes with it, and you know, visual cues that aren't actually verbal and actually can, so sometimes you, like I said, the shrug, you can have the shrug of the shoulders or you can have the hands vertically with it. So there are different degrees of shrug which imply different degrees of the emotion behind it, as it were. So anyway, this is Philip's thoughts on all that, and indeed the good stuff. Then he goes on to the bad stuff and cold shoulders and other problems, blah blah blah. Of course. Anyway, very interesting read there. Found it at medium.com. I would remind you that the posts I'm showing you here are individual articles, and sometimes if you follow the links I'm giving out, you will just get to a homepage. Like Medium will take you to its front page. How easy it is to navigate to these articles, I don't know. But if you do follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/malburns, then all these links are included amongst others there. And when you click on them at Twitter, they will take you direct to the actual page that you need to be reading, as opposed to W on a homepage where you don't know where you are. Right, okay. You know, it's like teleporting into Westminster in London at the moment. It's not entirely clear what the hell's going on. But there we go. Moving on. VRScout.com for this one. That's VRSCOUT.com. And Get Swole. What's swole?
It's short for swollen. You know,
Oh,
swell up.
swole.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So, yeah, like when I get bruised, my arm swells, so I need to put
Yeah.
liquid. Yeah, on. Okay, Get swollen with these VR muscle stimulators. Sorry. Yeah, that's a good phrase, isn't it? Oh, I've got some stimulated simulators. Oh no, so Sorry, I've got some simulated stimulators. Very similar words. Interesting that. Right, Valkyrie armbands maximise your Meta Quest workout for using electrical stimulation. And it doesn't hurt at all, but it is electrical, and obviously it doesn't work properly unless you've got a Facebook helmet to go with it. Um, and Tried and tested technology called electrical muscle simulation (EMS) to maximize your VR fitness session. It works through controlled electrical impulses delivered by metal contacts on the armbands, which promote muscle contraction when exercising. If you run too fast, you may get electrocuted and die. Sorry. That was an invisible paragraph I thought I saw. Right. Vice uses a pair of adhesive gel pads for each arm, with one pad locating on the bicep, the other on the tricep. The armband then wraps over the top of the gel pads to deliver electrical stimulation to the upper arms. And each adhesive gel pad can be reused approximately 20 or 30 times, maybe more for a single user. They take about 1 hour to charge, which gets you around an hour and a half of non-stop use. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you can read more about it by going to vrscout.com, VRSCOUT.com, or as I said a minute ago, following my Twitter links. Right, Reality Bites. Yep, this is another roundup site. And again, it comes from AR Insider, a bit later in the week than the Charlie, what's it one, Charlie thing. ARINSIDER.co, and talking about them, and them, and them. Well, we all know about the M word, the short version. In other words, Facebook. And I think most of us heard of TikTok. Right? It's the clock running out for TikTok. Don't know. And Discord. Our wonderful Discord, where we're actually recording the audio for this show, believe it or not. Discord users are now going to be able. You're going to be able to watch YouTube in sync with other users. So let's see. Watch YouTube videos in sync, and why Discord is the common platform for such. You have to link through rather, to get to this roundup, but there we are. The Discord news is fairly good. You do need Discord Nitro, which is a paid version for most of these newfangled things, but the the Watch Together on YouTube, and one of the other things they're introducing are open for free users as well. So there you go. Right, that roundup, as I say, is at arinsider.co, ARINSIDER.co. Moving that one away. Okay. Oh, right. Now, oddly enough, I couldn't find a day 2 of this, but believe me, there is a day 2. I don't know where there's a recap and highlights post for it, though. I know there was a day 2. But day 1, anyway, I mean, on the beginning of day 2, they had a recap of the first day. As I said, a real dearth of, no videos of the panels or anything else like that. But I suspect, although it was in Europe, I didn't really have time to check out the EU, the All Live site. But if it's anything like their other things, they will actually release all the videos slowly over the next few weeks, I should think. There's Ori Ambar again, doing his, hey, I'm here, I'm me, and I'm in, or EU. Oh, gesture. Talking gestures. And they've done a summary of things. His opening keynote notes, of course, people in contraptions, people looking at other contraptions, people experiencing contraptions, people pointing at contraptions, and people on panels talking about probably contraptions. So there you go. I mean, that's true, probably, but never mind. I'm not being cynical or criticising. It's an excellent conference as a rule. I know they looked to Picard there. Skull Ghost as well did I haven't got it here, but you'll find it in my feed. He did a special review of the Pico's offering. And, yeah, new enterprise product. And that was Pico Business. This is one of the few videos that actually did come from your conference. In fact, I should have embedded it somewhere else. It's got 16 minutes, and a lot of these videos have an extremely long introduction. Where the title screen is hanging around there for about 5 minutes. Anyway, you'll find this one at awexr.com, awexr.com for com, which I'm sure you can spell correctly without me telling you. Okay, this week in XR, the final roundup of the week, so to speak. This is Charlie Fink again, and this is the end of the week version that he publishes at Forbes. This week in XR, Stability AI raises 101 million, Vitua raises 10 million, all for a wearable high-def video device. So there you go. You'll find this roundup. Oh, picture of the second life. That's not like Charlie. Widely acknowledged to be the first metaverse. Finally. I thought the problem was it wasn't being acknowledged.
Just thrown in there for who knows why.
Yeah, just thrown in there. And of course, it's a Halloween packed pig, so he's actually taken care of which picture he used. Okay, so you find this at Forbes.com, FORBES.com. If you can't find it on the homepage, go to my Twitter feed and click on This Week in XR. It's one of the most recent things you'll find up there on that side. And yeah, I moved that one. And oh no, not quite the final one. No. I see what I did. Right, okay. Next site, blockstar.com. Ready Player Me are people that take your photograph, basically, of a face or body or whatever, and they generate avatars for you. And via their site, you can actually choose hundreds, thousands of different experiences where you can log in using that avatar. You can also export it into various formats that will allow you to take it into, say, Unity or Blender to customize it for yourself. And also this week they've launched a new Avatar API, application programming interface, which will enhance cross-platform prowess of avatars that are built using the platform. They've taken a year to develop the API, with its end goal is to create a more prolific set of tools which will attract the attention of developers while enhancing the experience of those already on board. And then it goes on with some of the more technical information you need to know about that. So good news there from Ready Player Me. And I suppose of that one. Right. Oh, I did actually manage to put it here separately.
Hi, welcome back to MRTV. I'm here at AWE 2022 in Europe, in Lisbon, and I'm here with the man who makes it all happen, Ori Amber, CEO and co-founder of AWE. How are you doing?
Well, rather than tell you how he was doing, which of course was Oh, fine. Thank you very much. Glad to be on your television show. What? Right. That you will find this one at youtube.com. But it's the same link that was in if you go to the OR site I gave you earlier. You'll find it there too. I'm not sure whether I've embedded this as a video anywhere else, but clearly, if you go to my Twitter feed, you'll see the how to build a thriving XR ecosystem, and that takes you straight to the YouTube page we've got there. Right. Also, maybe this should be Metaworld News. I don't really know. But this is another post from uploadvr.com. They're the people that do the VR download their video every week. And I just thought this was quite neat. It's 10 spooky VR chat worlds to visit for Halloween. And James here, I know, is a fan of VR chat. And, it's obviously one of the better worlds out there. And it's made for helmets, but not necessarily exclusive to helmets, if you see what I mean. Good place to be, eh, James?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, they've what was it? 10 spooky Halloweeny sort of places. Light-hearted Halloween, Spooky Town and the Pumpkin Master. Oh dear, we don't seem to have the pictures on here, do we? Oh, we have to lower down. Butter of Terror, which is on the PC and the Helmet Land, and Buckets of Terror. I don't even want to think. What
Don't even try.
you fall into that, and well, Halloween, anything for Halloween, I suppose.
Right.
Short and spooky, Alone in the Silence. This is on PC and Helmet Land. Chill Vibes. Not much to see there, but a hole in the floor. Bit suspicious, that one. Time Breach, the PC only version. With suspenseful thrillers. These aren't typical horror or Halloween, but their unsettling atmospheres make them fit into the category. Both have more under the surface than what is normally seen. So you've got Submerge is one. Mirim, I suppose. PC only version. A lot of these experiences actually last a given length, or an estimated length anyway. And the Devouring, high quality full length horror, that one. And that's on PC only. And Noir Nocturne, I think I've heard of that one. But I may have had a clip of that one already for something. Obsession, PC only. Notice some of these are just experiences. For example, that Noir Nocturne is sort of capacity is 1, which means it is not a multiplayer or multi-user kind of thing. But anyway, some interesting stuff there. So you can find that at uploadvr.com, uploadvr.com. And that is it for the links, the web links of the week. I'm moving on quickly here to the final page, which is my roundup of videos that I post. These actually arrive on my Twitter feed, so you can still find them at twitter.com/malburns. But I have a special feed where they go a few minutes before, which is mastodon.social/@Metaworld. And they're not always in order, particularly this week where I was jamming a few in. Even this morning I was digging out the ones I thought I might have missed. Our usual one, our favourite one, at least especially as far as James is concerned, is a VR download where they're talking about the Pico 4 review. Any thoughts on that, James, if you saw it this week?
Oh yeah, the David Heaney again. He goes into such great depth of understanding, and I've even seen him now being quoted in other media. So he's really building quite a sense of expertise. I think the show was really started talking about alternatives to. I mean, Pico has got kind of the same privacy concerns that the Quest does, and so. They really started doing some speculation on the new headset from Valve. I forgot the name of it now.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Always
had it in my head to talk about, and now it's gone. It's a funny name, but it's a code word anyway.
HTC Vive?
No, Valve.
Oh, Valve. Okay, right.
Yep.
Okay, never mind. Yes, so
Yep. Maybe HTC is helping with manufacture, but it will be a Valve branded headset.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of the name? Anyway, doesn't matter.
But I can't do
But
this.
I am excited
Too
about that
many.
headset. Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. I have no interest in a Quest Pro, and
Yeah, that's beyond the pale in pricing, really.
right, right.
Well, but the Pico 4 review seems to be the main thing here, because we also had a new edition of F Reality, which is only fortnightly.
Yep.
They had a recap of Meta's Disconnect, but again, they're looking at the Quest Pro and the Pico 4 Enterprise, and that one's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't. I guess you don't watch any of these other ones, so no comment there really.
I watch the news on them, but I don't watch all those videos. No.
Yeah. Between realities, again near the end of the week here, they featured a guest from the Virtual Athletics League. They're really talking about VR sports, conventions, and stuff like that. So I always say their focus is more on gaming than the metaverse, but actually things like virtual athletics, virtual sports, esports, whatever they call them, it's a very, very wide field indeed. And also, of course, beginning of the weekend, we had Charlie Fink, the video version. And this week in Exiles podcast, this had the co-founder and CEO of Zappar, say Zappar, and his name is Caspar Thinkia. Who knows? I almost tempted to call it Thinker. And then, oh, God, I don't know what that one is. Anyway, yes, that's the rest of the ones for the week there. Not a huge amount this week, as you can see. So, with that, oh, hang on. Oh, and I did all the other clips at the beginning of the show, didn't I? How much
Yep.
time have we got left? We're doing not too badly, actually. 43. Okay, I'm going to quickly, just to get it out of the way, I'm going to play this one. It's 10 minutes, but I'm not going to let you have it all. I'm going to be skipping through it to the interesting bits. So see what you will see.
You could tell that the metaverse is going to be the lamest platform the internet had ever seen just from looking at it. But things are a whole lot worse than they initially appeared. There's barely any people that actually use the metaverse, despite it being the brainchild of Facebook, which was once the most popular social media out there. The most popular part of the metaverse is probably Decentraland, and it only has about 379 daily active users. You could easily see that.
Now I
That's
would add,
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
yeah, well,
That's all wrong.
I would also add that Decentraland had a post up earlier this week, boasting about sort of, I think it was a couple of million people that attended something they did, but nobody has these stats. Nobody has it. There's no evidence. They
No.
just it seems that these people are just making stuff up these days. Oh, we had an event, but none of you saw it because you didn't come. But you were naughty because even though you didn't come, 2 billion other people did. Justo. Sounds like certain British prime ministers, doesn't it?
People in RuneScape's Grand Exchange AAA title that is being developed by companies like Rockstar or Bethesda, and yet the metaverse is out here with graphics that are worse than a lot of PS2 games. This is footage from Final Fantasy XII, a game that came out in 2006 for the PS2, and it only had a total budget of $48 million. That's including both the budget to develop it as well as marketing and things like that. Compare this to the 15 billion or so that Meta has spent on their metaverse just in the past year. And speaking of graphics comparisons, a lot of people, myself included, had been comparing metaverse characters and just the way that the metaverse looked to Miiverse characters, because at first glance, you gotta admit, they do look equally crappy. But you know what? I think that this comparison might actually be insulting to the Miiverse, because the Miiverse was launched 10 years ago alongside with the Nintendo Wii U. And Nintendo was working with much simpler technology.
As you can tell, this program is not very keen on
Don't have any
the
feet.
modern
So it's not
metaverse.
even like they have that kind of creepy but at least familiar Rayman aesthetic with the floating limbs. No, everyone in the Miiverse is just a straight up below the waist amputee being levitated in thin air, trapped
Oh,
Zuck and turn people into a floating torso. Now, to Meta's credit, the old Zuck did make an announcement in his true AI form that characters in the metaverse are soon going to have legs. Sure, it might have cost hundreds of millions of extra dollars, and sure, maybe Meta had to lay off a bunch of employees to make it happen, but none of that is important. What matters is your virtual reality avatar can now stand on their own 2 feet.
I really,
And
there's 1,000 comments I'm ready to make watching
that
this.
Facebook is no longer in the Fagman group because compared another member of another member of the former Fagman group, because they introduced app tracking transparency, which all of a sudden made it really easy for any normie with an iPhone to shut out all of Meta's tracking and advertisements, which was their primary business model. So I can kind of understand the sudden change of business model that Meta's doing because Apple pretty much shot them in the leg. But now it looks like Meta is shooting themselves in the legs, which I guess explains the floating torsos. Now, Meta knows that they can't just get a bunch of investors with fake CGI legs. So they went ahead and created a real thing, the Meta Quest Pro, which Meta also announced at Connect 2022. Now, the Quest Pro is a little bit different than the Quest 2 because it isn't really marketed for gaming or whatever it is that the 300 or so people in the metaverse are doing. No, the Quest Pro is trying to become the bedrock of this virtual office that the Zuck thinks is going to be the cash cow that's
Sorry?
make with it
Yeah, yeah.
for Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh,
That seems
sorry. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, you can see what's going on there. We might show you. The clip's called "The Metaverse is World's Deepest Money Pit," and I'm not sure where it came from. You might find it on YouTube, and I'll keep it around in case we need it. But some quite amusing comments from the character there. So, James, I heard you commenting. You was telling me I've got to get off air.
Well, we just have another thing to get to, so.
Yes, I know. We've got 10
Yep.
minutes from what I can see, so we're doing okay. But yes, that's it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed all the news we've got for you. Sorry it was the Motormouth edition, but what the hell? It still lasted 3/4 of an hour, didn't it? Okay, it's goodbye from James, and it's goodbye from me. We will see you same time, same place next week, and for now, it's a wrap. Although do stay tuned on this channel, we have a surprise for you on the hour. Bye for now.